Hey everybody, Yeti here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a gander at the Solus project. This is a game which is it's in early access at the minute. They're still adding to it, but it's basically a survival game in space, but it's slightly different in that there's more sort of narrative elements to it than the sort of standard, Ark or Forest or something like that. So it is a survival game. The sun gets destroyed by our planet, the Earth, gets destroyed by like a random star that comes out of nowhere. So we get sent off in this like human escape pod type thing, and then we end up getting destroyed and landing on this distant planet. And we've basically got to build ourselves like technology to hopefully get people to come and bring us home. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and start a new game. Now the developers have basically said that most of the content is already in the game. However, what they're doing is they're going to add it in as they go along, sort of telltale style, so that there's about 2.5 hours of gameplay in it at the moment, but later on down the line, I have no idea specifically when, but at some point they will be adding the next bit of narrative, and then a few months or a bit later they'll add the next bit of narrative, and they'll just keep adding it until it's finished. So you could play this now and play it as they add it, or you could wait a few months until it's finished and then play it then. But at the moment there's about 2.5 hours of content within the game. So we're gonna go ahead and start a new game here. So it was built in the Unreal Engine 4, so it's a very nice looking game, and it does run very well as well. So another thing I should mention is there isn't actually any combat, at least at the minute. I don't know if they do intend on adding any combat later on down the line, but for the time being, for this first sort of bit of narrativeness, there isn't actually any combat in it. So this is just introducing you to the story. There is a bit of a tutorial thing, and I think it makes the most sense, because it is narrative driven, it makes the most sense to, for me at least, to start a new game for this video. And you can get an idea as to what the survivaliness is actually like. It does mention about building, finding somewhere to build a house, like build somewhere to stay warm and stuff. But from the first sort of hour and a half that I've played, that hasn't been necessary yet. So I'm assuming later on down the line I'll get the ability to maybe build a house. But I just wanted to give it's a really interesting game because it's a survival game, but it's narrative driven, and it's just an interesting model for them to use to bring out the narratives one bit at a time. So I think it just advantage. It'd be, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think it'd be better for me to cover this now after about an hour and a half of me playing it, and talk about what the game is like, and then I think it's better for you to just go and play it for yourselves and figure it out for yourselves. But yeah, that's basically the main premise. Is that it's a bit of a survival game, narrative game crossover. So hopefully they keep fleshing it out and keep working on it. I'd imagine they will. It was made by like 3 different developer teams. So hopefully they keep working on it, because I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think I probably will, once I've made this video, maybe finish the next, the content that's in the game now. Like I said, there's about 2.5 hours, and I'm about an hour and a half in. So I'll maybe finish this last bit, but then I'll probably go away and leave it for a few months, and then come back when it's finished. But I definitely do look forward to returning to it and seeing it in its final state. But yeah, so we're going to crash land here. There's a bit of a cutscene, and then we'll be delved into this distant alien planet where we'll be taught how to survive and stuff. Sort of similar to the opening of the Forest, our ship's going to crash and we're going to try and get as many resources from it as we can. But as you can see, this is a very nice looking game. Hopefully it isn't too loud. I'll just go ahead and show you the options real quick, because there are quite a lot. So as you can see, everything's on Ultra here. I do have VSync on. Usually I would play with VSync off. But the reason I've got it on is just because if I don't have it on, I get really bad screen tearing. And my monitor's pretty, it's not the greatest monitor, but still, I get really bad screen tearing, so the frame rate goes really high. So I play with VSync on. But if you have a 144Hz monitor, then you probably won't have the same problem.
Did anyone make it to the drum parts?
Also, this bit is way louder than the game itself, and I'm worried that I'm going to be drowned out. So let's just do this. Why does effects volume say 0?
Lars, is anyone there?
I hear no difference. Okay, so we've crashed. That's pretty much that. The ship got shot down. And now we're on this planet that we've landed on, conveniently enough. So we've just got to survive. Similar to Crashlands, actually. We've just got to survive long enough to build the technology to call people to help us. Although we do have a woman comes up on the radio later on and tells us stuff. So yeah, but we do get this little PDA thing, which basically tells us our condition. It can tell us like our inventory, you know, the temperature and all that sort of stuff, and it will also talk to us and give us the occasional hint. So as you can see at the top there, they are accepting, like, you can't just report any issues or anything like that. There is also a forum that you can say stuff on, which is nice if you get stuck, or if you want to just go ahead and talk about any secrets you found. I've found that the online community for this is pretty nice. When I was doing some research on it, everyone's like, you know, talking about secrets they found and stuff like that. One thing I will say about this is the audio is amazing. There's a bit later on where the tornado hit me and it got like really intense. Like the audio, it was like freaking out, and I was like, oh my god, it was so intense. It really built the drama up. I don't know. I think the audio is great, and the world is like really nicely built as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do easy for the sake of the video and leave everything as it is. So you do get the option to change the metrics as well. As you can see, this is a very nice looking game. It runs really smoothly as well. I'm playing it in 30 FPS. No, I'm recording it in 30 FPS because when I was recording in 60 FPS, the recording came out all gross for some reason.
Wilson interfacing with operator. Operator vital signs detected.
So this is Wilson. This is going to talk to us and tell us stuff. And as you can see down there, that shows us like our basics. So you can see like our health, our body temperature, our calories, our water in our body at the minute. So you need to keep yourself food, you need to keep drinking. And it also tells us, I believe that's how long until we need to sleep next. I don't recall though, because sleeping, I usually sleep relatively frequently. And it also shows that our body temperature, our level of wetness, so as you can see we are drying off, and also the wind speeds, which is probably going to help us dry off. So as you can see, items are two states, you can either pick them up or you can craft them. So we're going to go ahead and pick this rock up. However, you can also, if you're holding an item in your hand and you go ahead, there isn't like a Minecraft crafting bench, or it's not like Ark where you have to use things to craft stuff. If you want to craft stuff, you basically like pick up one item and then go up to the other item you want to craft it with, and then you basically combine them, which we're going to do with this to get like a bit of a sharper rock. And then we're just going to try and we need to make a cut tool. That's what we need. So we need to pick this up, I think, and then we need to combine it with this, and then that'll like turn it into wire. So we can just move on through this. So this is just going to show us stuff. If we hit P, we'll get our stats. If we hit O, we'll get our objectives. If we hit B, we'll get sleep. And obviously it shows you the D-pad in case you are playing with a controller. And this is Wilson, like I said, until sleep. There's how many hours until sleep, so I've already covered that. So it's how many hours you can go until you need to sleep. I thought it was, but so in true foresty style, you want to be able to you want to be picking stuff up like straight away. So as you can see, this is a can. We can break it open to get the food out of it, or we can just straight up pick it up. We're just going to pick it up. These things are just little, as you can see, it says survival handbooks. This is just going to teach you how to play the game. Our current objective, I believe, is just to keep moving to our goal.
Please follow survival training.
Yeah, it wants us to go this way. In a minute, I'll ask us to build a torch. You want to keep an eye out for like everything that you can see, water and food and stuff.
Long enough to report something back to
This is useful for a torch later on. I don't want to break this open yet.
Survived.
So the max amount of calories you can have in your body is 3,000, and it's 3 litres of water as well, so that's what you want to try and keep those stocked up, as you should in real life. Actually, 3,000 calories is like a lot, to be honest, but you know. So as you can see, we're in a cave now, so the temperature is going to start dropping, so we're going to start getting a bit cold. We'll also start drying off a bit more slowly. As you can see, we're not drying off as quickly now. But in this there's some water, so we can just go ahead and have a bit of a drink from that. And that should fill our water up, so now you can see it's okay, so because we drank half a litre there, which is quite a lot from a little drip. So now we're going to head back outside. There's a rock here which we'll use to cut this down later on. So yeah, it's a survival game, and it's a very nice looking survival game at that. And it's more than just like, oh, build a house, because you can see you've really got to focus on keeping yourself alive and keeping on survival. Now I haven't played Ark or the Forest. I've seen like a lot of content from Ark, and I've seen a lot of content from both of them. I haven't played either of them personally though. Okay, so we're gonna pick this up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and eat it. do some grazing, which is really good for your eating plants and stuff. If you're ever out in the wilderness, I recommend that you try and learn the sort of the poison ivies and stuff like that in your local area, so that if you ever get stuck out in the wilderness, you know what to eat and what not to eat. Because grazing is a great way to keep the calorie count up. But yeah, so as you can see, we're like actually a bit wetter now because I walked in the water when we were in that cave. So we're going to go ahead and build a torch here, and the thing that's great about the torch is obviously it lights stuff up, but it also acts as a like portable source of heat, and it also never burns down. So I'm going to get the rock out so I can cut it. This is water, that's a wire. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and cut this up. So honestly, like my first time playing it, it did actually take me a little while to learn the basics of it. I got quite confused for a bit, but actually now that I've done it, it's like it's pretty simple to learn. Okay, so now we have a torch. We can bind our stick with that root. Now we just need some oil, and then we'll set it on fire. And because this is the tutorial, there's conveniently a bunch of oil over here, which we're going to douse our torch in. Now, fortunately, I don't know if this is going to change, because I don't know how some people feel about this, but the torch does actually last forever once you've set it on fire. I personally like that, just for convenience, but I know some people probably won't. Okay, so I want to do this, and as you can see now, as we got close to that thing, our temperature went way up. So we now have a torch, so as you can see, it's 41 degrees, which is actually like, Celsius is actually really hot, so I want to maybe back away from the turbine engine thing, which I think turns off in a minute anyway. Connection established, so we're going to get some talking now. Now you'll realise it's very difficult to understand what she's saying. So yeah, it's very difficult to recognise what she's saying. The developers are aware of this, a lot of people have mentioned it, they are working on this. There aren't subtitles in the game at the moment. That is another thing they're working on. So they're working on subtitles, and they're working on making the audio a bit clearer. So don't worry about that. That's a work in progress. I just thought I'd point it out though. Okay, she's done talking though. I'm actually gonna... Okay, my inventory is full, so what I'm actually gonna do here is drop this. I'm gonna bash it open with a rock. With this rock, and then it'll be open, so now we can consume it. And that's how cans work, so this is now an empty can. Oh, never mind, I dropped it instead of eating it. So if you see a can, you want to break it open, and then you can eat it. So as you can see now, our calories are okay. What I'm actually gonna do is our inventory is full, so I'm actually gonna use that cave as a sort of place to live for the minute, because obviously we can't actually build yet, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and drop some stuff there, because if we hold tab you can see our inventory is full. It's not letting me... Oh, press tab, sorry, I thought it was hold. So you can see our inventory is full at the minute, so I'm actually going to go ahead and drop some of this stuff back so I can pick more stuff up. I will hold the torch for a second though. So we don't need two different types of rock. I would like to keep one rock on us though. So I'll keep our torch, I'll drop this pole there as well. So these will stay here, I've been doing this before. And then we'll drop like... I don't think we need this many cans, so we'll drop... we'll drop all the cans because I'm not going to be venturing that far in this video. I just wanted to sort of show the basics of the game and say, hey, this game's really fun, you should play it. So let's just drop all the cans here. So if we need food we can come back. What else do we have? We have the wire, which we're not going to use for anything yet. Yeah, this cable you get early on, I have no idea what it's used for yet. Like I said, I'm about an hour and a half in and I've not used it yet, but I'm assuming it'll be used for something later on. Especially because, like I said, the end goal is obviously to build some device that we can call for help or something. I don't know. This is a very fun game though, I really like it. Very, very nice looking. When I first installed it, I actually hadn't heard of it. And then I saw it and was like, oh, this looks interesting, I'll have a look at this, see if I can make a video on it. And I started playing it last night and I was like, holy shit, this game looks very nice and it's very well built. And it's still, like I said, it's early access, they are adding to it as they go along. But it's still, like, even if they just finish the narrative, I could still see this being a great game, you know? I don't think they need to add that much to it. I'll look forward to being able to build a house a bit later on. But I really like it, I think there's a lot of potential for it. Very nice looking. performs really well and stuff. And I just like the UI and stuff, the premise of it. Okay, we don't really need the torch out because it's already like 27 degrees, so we don't really have anything to worry about. We have a lot of water bottles, but we are fine for water. So I guess I'll just like hold this rock. So a missile is going to fire from up here in a minute. I think I need to go over here to trigger it though. Oh, what's this? That appears to be nothing. Trojan. There's a tank full of condoms. Okay. Oh, these things drop like little nuts, which can give you, as you see, it says resistance buffs. So those things will give you little nuts. Also, you can sleep wherever, and that's how you save. You can if you want to save, you either save by sleeping or you save by going to a shrine, which we haven't found any of yet. Sleeping, as you say, gives you max 100 health per hour, so that does heal you up. But the weather condition and the temperature does affect how well you sleep. So when you sleep, you want to ideally do it in a warm area. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. You want to ideally do it in a warm area. So this is the beacon. The beacon at the minute isn't that useful, but what you do with it, you basically drop it, and then it acts as like a waypoint. So I could basically go into my cave. So as you can see, I like have no way to tell where my cave is except from like memory. So I could drop the beacon in my cave, and then I'd know exactly where it is, because there'd be a massive waypoint pointing to it. So that's what that's for. Is this the cargo manifest? This had the PDA in it. It had 2 beacons. We picked up one of them. So somewhere out there are 2 med packs, 2 backpacks, and a glow stick. The glow stick's in the cave over there. I know that much. So yeah, we can hear some pretty funky sounds. So our next goal is to get into this cave. Okay, it's getting pretty dark and cold over here. So if you're in a dark area, usually you're getting cold as well. That's something like a basic to keep an eye out for. These things give you these things called artifacts. They basically give you extra bonuses. So if I go ahead and hit P, as you can see, I've got a 1% resistance to hypothermia and heat stroke and starvation. So that one just gave me like a 1% resistance to everything pretty much. Okay, for some reason tab wasn't closing that then. So yeah, as you can see, our current goal is to try and get in here. It'll tell us that if we come over. Find a way into the cave and investigate the sound. So that is our current goal. But I actually have... To get in there, we actually need to use the teleport device, which we don't have yet. It should show up now. There it is. So the teleport device is in this missile. I'm not sure if someone sent that down for us or if it just happened to land near us or what, but it's there. So that has a teleport device in it, and that's what we'll be using to, well, teleport. It's pretty much just a short range teleport. It fires like a disc, and then you can teleport to the disc, but that'll help us get through the rubble and into the cave. Yeah, keep an eye on your vital signs. That's just like a little reminder to make sure you're not dying. So here's the missile. It is sort of coming tonight. The one thing I would say is this really could do with the clock, because except for like looking at how dark it is, there is no way to measure, and where the sun is. Because as you can see, the sun's going down over there, and obviously the moon will come up. But other than that, you have no way to tell what time it actually is. So this has like a lot of stuff in it, most of which we won't be able to pick up. Okay, so let me just show you the teleportation device, which I can switch out by pressing T, and you basically just throw a disc, and then you just teleport to it, and it's pretty cool. You can use it infinitely. I like it. And then other than that, was that a medkit? Okay, I didn't get a medkit last time. That's interesting. And then this is energy food, which I can't take. So I guess this is like semi-random then, because last on my other save I didn't actually get a medkit. Okay, well those should stay in there. Those are energy food. They give you more calories than a can does, so they're useful. So if I can just consume this. Ideally, I want to pick all these up, but my inventory is full, so I can't. Do I have anything I can drop? I'll drop this because the inventory, this thing's worth way more calorie-wise. But let's go ahead. It is getting to night time, so as you can see, when I'm not holding my torch, the temperature is starting to drop. Oh, it's coming up because we're moving into the sun, but it will start to lower a bit. We can go another 11 hours before we need to sleep. However, we have been up for about 9 hours now, because I believe it defaults at 20 when you start. So let me just check how long the recording's been going. 20 minutes, okay, that's probably a pretty good time to wrap it up. So, yeah, pretty much though. This is the Solus project. It's a survival game with a bit more narrative driven. At the moment, we're just progressing through. As you see, it wants us to go in the cave now. But we're just trying to ideally before we go in the cave, we want to like collect as much stuff as we need. So we obviously need a torch, and we want to be carrying as much water and food as we can before we go on that expedition. I'm pretty much sorted though. I have like 3 energy foods and like 3 water bottles, so I'm probably fine actually. I have 4 water bottles and a spare pipe, so I'm probably actually fine to go on that adventure now. But yeah, so I'm really hopeful for it. I'm looking forward to being able to build a house and stuff in it. Hopefully that comes later on. Honestly, I'd recommend giving this a go for yourself. It's just really fun. It's a really fun game. It's pretty unique because when I saw it, I was like, it looks pretty good. You know, these are diary entries, by the way. These are just like lore and stuff. As you see, latest diary 2 of 26. So you can read those as well for some backstory and all that sort of stuff. It was a turbine. I was wondering what that was. I heard like a spaceship or something. But yeah, I thought I was like, oh, it's a survival game. Oh, but it's in space. It's like Ark without the dinosaurs. Okay, well I'll see what it's like. But it's actually like way more than that. Obviously, you've got the nights are very cold. You've got the Wilson thing. You've got the more narrative elements. You've got the different UI. I think it's really good. It's a very nice looking game, very well presented, and I look forward to seeing more of it. So yeah, if you like this video, a like would be really useful. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, though, my name's Yeti. This has been the Solus Project, and I will see you guys next time. Peace, peace.